Le Centre culturel canadien présente le Canada à travers ses artistes. Certains de ces artistes travaillent sur des questions d'identité, de diversité, de représentation, voire quelquefois de représentation nationale. Dans le contexte des Jeux olympiques et paralympiques, nous voulions donc une exposition qui puisse à la fois permettre de célébrer la rencontre entre athlètes et public, d'adresser la question de la représentation nationale qui est inévitable dans un tel contexte, mais aussi d'avoir une manière de présenter les Olympiens et les Paralympiens sur un pied d'égalité. Ce qui ne va pas de soi, ce qui n'est pas vraiment fait, ce qui n'est d'ailleurs pas pratiqué comme tel pendant les Jeux, puisqu'il y a des Jeux olympiques séparés des Jeux paralympiques. Cette proposition devait donc avoir lieu à l'écart des compétitions, et même je dirais à l'écart de l'esprit de compétition, et aussi à l'écart du bruit médiatique, même si c'est une exposition à travers l'œuvre de Clive Holden qui interroge la question de la représentation médiatique.
I first met Clive about 15 years ago. He started his career as an experimental filmmaker and had been asked by the Toronto International Film Festival in 2008 to present a new work that was entitled You Are Being Remembered. At the time, we operated a small cinema space attached to our gallery. And Clive's work had feet sort of in both arenas, that he had done a new media piece that incorporated moving images, but he had also made still photographs derived from his film work that was on display in the gallery. So as a photography gallery that was also able to present moving image work, it was like a perfect combination for an artist. And I was very excited about Clive's work for a number of reasons, not least of which is how he remembered where he came from in terms of his skills as an experimental filmmaker, and then repurposing those for a new purpose. And that's something that has remained constant in a lot of his work. In the case of this one behind me, this is the wind in Lake Winnipeg, and these are isolated stills from a film that he was making that was not used in the final film, but later he decided to repurpose those frames to make a two-dimensional art object.
Composition pour un ensemble, on entend bien la référence musicale. Il faut comprendre qu'elle n'est pas que métaphorique, pourrait le sembler. Composition pour un ensemble, comme on dirait composition pour un orchestre. Elle n'est pas que métaphorique parce que d'abord, elle est, cette exposition, le fruit d'une commande. La commande s'intitule « ensemble », qui est un très beau mot, puisque « ensemble », il y a le mot « chant » dedans, mais en anglais, ça veut dire en fait ce qui n'est pas célébré, ce qui est invu ou invisibilisé. En appelant sa commande centrale, une commande faite pour célébrer donc les Jeux olympiques et paralympiques, Clive Holden, avec ce mot « ensemble », nous invite à regarder autrement la dramaturgie olympique, l'image de presse, les athlètes eux-mêmes.
In the case of these athletes that you can see in the current work, it's very much a behind-the-scenes look, and it's almost dealing with the people that are forgotten or really not thought about as there's so much fixation on who appears on the podium as the successful winner. This delves into the backstory and acknowledges and highlights heroes that are around us everywhere, that we just need to have people like Clive recognize them and celebrate them.
For myself, one of the more interesting aspects of the show is that I wanted to challenge some of art's largest boundaries, ones that aren't even talked about most of the time. These fundamental boundaries can be things like duration, for example. Music, the main area to date where time-based art has been made, has often had specific durations. The era of the remix has altered this to a degree. Live music is more flexible in this way, but there's still the practical length of a concert or of one evening. A painting, for example, has no duration. Another fundamental dichotomy has been the difference between still images and moving images. And that's been completely transformed in just the last 3 or 4 years. If you go to most social media platforms now, I'm interested in what happens in an art viewer's mind through the senses, but also beyond them. As an artist, I'm interested in how a work of art functions. We all experience art through a screen of conventions, but I primarily work in a category that is still fairly new called moving image art. Its conventions are in the early stages of being formed, while a lot of our expectations are still dominated by the era of narrative cinema. There are a lot of big changes happening right now. Today, the future conventions are being formed for this area of art making. What if we could experience moving visual art as if it were music? Not literally, but psychologically. I'm asking you to try to bring these less than usual expectations to viewing this show. An analogous era that could be compared to today would be the years after the invention of the piano. Everything changed. I also want to talk about the narrative power of the original photographs I was asked to work with in the show's main work, which is called Unsung. These were taken by exceptional sports photographers, to whom I'm very grateful. Everything we do that's worthwhile happens with the too often unsung efforts of a community.
Les œuvres dans cette exposition vont résonner entre elles. En effet, on a cette commande centrale, ensemble, ainsi qu'un certain nombre d'œuvres anciennes de Clive Holden, à travers un travail sur la représentation, mais aussi sur la structure de l'image et sur la texture de l'image. Clive Holden, dans ses œuvres anciennes, que ce soit Internet Mountains, Waltz, etc., travaille toujours cette question des codes de représentation, d'une certaine imagerie très, justement, formelle, codée, chargée de symboles, que ce soit le paysage touristique ou la représentation des sommets, comme par exemple la représentation des montagnes, qui peut ici, dans ce contexte, être interprétée autrement comme étant l'idéal de la performance et de l'atteinte d'un objectif très élevé, mais aussi code de représentation du film expérimental, de l'image télévisuelle, etc. Il y a un peu tous ces éléments dans ce concert d'images que crée Clive Holden pour nous.
There you'll see a selection of athletes who are in a special moment in their lives. I call these unsung moments because in spite of the overt physicality of what they're doing, they're in a special inner space that can happen in the flow between preparation and completion, or as if the pauses in music were the same thing. They're so essential to rhythm. Finally, the Paralympians. They are the people in Unsung who are also disregarding previously rigid boundaries to a dramatic degree. This is also happening right now. The term unsung in English is usually heard in a phrase, followed by the word hero. In these sometimes confusing times, for me, these athletes are truly unsung heroes.
Clive Holden est quelqu'un qui pense toujours chacune de ses œuvres, peut-être en fonction de tous les arts finalement. Et j'ai le sentiment que ce travail sur la rythmique visuelle, où finalement les notes, ce sont les athlètes ou les images des photographes de presse, qui sont combinées en accords par exemple, ou en phrasés, en boucles rythmiques, produisent donc cette œuvre complètement inédite, où on va voir complètement autrement l'imagerie sportive, olympique et paralympique.